What is going on, guys? A20 Mayo here, and today we're going to be having ourselves a viewer VOD review video. In this video, we heavily cover the 5-stack environment and how to utilize this at the maximum capability. So if you're someone who 5 stacks or even 4 stacks or 3 stacks, this video is definitely a big help to all of you guys because there's a lot of key points talked about in this video. Now, before we jump in, I want to mention that I have a coaching service down below. So if you guys are interested in this VOD review that you saw here today or in a coaching session, there's a link to my Patreon down below. So make sure you guys go check that out. But with all of that being said, let's jump into the video. Okay, so one thing that I will say with a 5-stack environment is predetermining your route, your execution, and just the first initial steps of your attack is very important because you don't want people on the wrong page or whatever it might be, and that might lead to confusion later on the round, which might lose you the round. So in those 5-stack environments, really make sure that communication is key because it's very important. Okay, so one thing that I will say, since the Valkyrie is on the board, I would be very cautious about taking armory wall control. Because it's very common for a Valkyrie. He's right here, you're at the door, so you're good. So the first issue that I'm seeing that's very, very relevant right now is the lack of communication. And that's pretty common in lower ranks. People don't really understand the importance of communication or how communication can lead to a round win and the success of winning rounds. So in these 5-stack, really try your hardest to communicate a lot of stuff. So right there, you droned. You didn't call out the bandit batteries in the wall. You didn't call out the ADS. You didn't even call out the bandit playing bunker there. So make sure you're calling all this stuff out. That brings me to my next point, which is you having 3 flashes, Ayana having nades, and you can very easily get these bandits off for very little effort. You know, 1 nade and 1 flash, and that's not being communicated, and we're now 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the round, which not having wall open is going to be a huge upset because now it's taking you longer to set up for the site execute and for plant. See, like here, we're loading into the round and this time isn't being used to communicate adjustments from the first round to the second round. Things that should be discussed, like how we're going to attack, what bomb site are they most likely going to be going to, and just overall basic stuff to set yourself up for the round. You guys are kind of falling under the expectations of things happening or players doing things just based off your own expectations. You're not communicating those things, which can lead to a lot of issues later on in the round. So really make sure that you're using every crucial second as a 5-stack to set yourself up for success as the attackers especially. Also, in a 5-stack environment, it's very important that you capitalize on the fact that you are in a 5-stack versus the enemy, because sometimes the enemy isn't in a 5-stack, and you can use the fact that you have better communication, better team play, and all of that stuff to your advantage, which you guys aren't really doing currently.
Oh, yeah. Castle right here.
Oh no, Candela, no. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the thought process is on the situation here. He's castling the armory door. This wall is soft. I don't know why you wouldn't just start mag dumping, especially as Ying, when you have 80 bullets in a mag. You definitely added more steps to a potential freebie than you should have, just by capitalizing on this wall being completely soft, the entire armory wall for that matter. Okay, so in this situation here, the IQ is doing vertical play, which is great, but something that you should be doing here to support the IQ, as you can see, you're not doing much. There's nothing really happening in terms of you supporting this IQ in her endeavor of doing vertical play. So you have 2 drones on person. Use those drones, set up a 90 cam, set one in office, and watch those while the IQ does her job of vertical play. Because it's very, very important that you support your team when you're doing stuff like that. You always want to be doing something productive versus nothing, right? So it's very important that you recognize stuff like that.
Oh, Jaeger's back there. Mozzie was on pick 5, or somebody was on pick 5.
Interesting use of the Candelas. I would definitely say using them in a more of an execute kind of way would probably be better. You're kind of using them pretty selfishly, I will say, because nobody can really react off of the Candelas that you're placing currently. And the reason I say that is because nobody is around and you're pretty much solely doing the reaction off of the Candelas and making the plays off of them by yourself. So I would say, you know, maybe throwing one in the bomb site, you know, putting one on the floor there into the bomb site from the ceiling is a good placement for 1, maybe 2. but definitely using them for more of an execute would probably be better in this situation because you do have even numbers. You guys have almost a minute and a half left in the round, so there's a lot of possibilities, and that those candelas that you just now used could have probably come in handy later on in the round.
At this rate, I'm gonna run out of fucking ammo.
I got Mozzie.
Nice, nice.
Oh, on my left. He's on boost.
Oh, behind on by stairs. Oh, Jaeger went into.
Good try, good try.
Yeah, you definitely
Just went a
jumped the
little
gun
quick
there with kind of
You
just
could've slowed
spamming
it
your
down
candelas into sight and then just dropping. One thing to recognize in that situation as well is just overall aggressiveness. Like, again, you guys had a 3v3 situation there, even man count, a minute and 20 seconds left. Like, there's a lot of time to play around with and a lot of possibilities to how the round could have played out. So the biggest thing with that round itself is just slow down a little bit, gather some info, reposition off of the info you just gather, and then make the execution off of that. So this wall here, leading into small office, should definitely be reinforced, because if they get a line of sight through the wall, they can see all the way pretty much to Archives door, not directly into Archives, but a very, very deep angle into the bomb site, which cuts off all rotations. And as an attacker, when you pretty much get that for free by just opening this wall up a little bit here, that's going to be pretty difficult to deal with, especially in a later section of the round when they're trying to plant or they're trying to, you know, flood the bomb site and execute and all that good stuff. So reinforcing this wall is very, very important. So make sure that you consider doing that the next time you play border. So you got a little aggressive there. You got like 2 or 3 kills previously before challenging this buck. And that momentum from those kills and all that stuff probably carried into you over peaking here. So a good rule of thumb and something really important to enforce on yourself is having self-control. Because that was a very spur of the moment, oh, I know where he is now, I'm just going to swing because I got 3 kills before him. And that now puts your teammate in a 1v1 situation, which you never want. You had a 1v2, now you have a 1v1. So the chances of you winning that round go down dramatically just because you guys can't play refrag, crossfires, and all that stuff anymore. So definitely have some sort of self-control. Understand that in a 2v1, you guys are set up beautifully for the round, and just use that to your advantage. Like, this guy's 1 HP, the alibi can't kill him. Like, one more bullet from that alibi, it would have killed the buck. So that's a huge upset, because that could have been very easily avoided if you just made a better decision there. Alright, one thing I will say about Lesion and just trap operators in general, usually want to work exterior to interior of the position that you're primarily going to be playing, just because that information, the sooner you get it, the better, right? And I'm also going to assume that you're going to be playing Armory for the most part. I definitely could be wrong. But placing the goo Armory door isn't something that you necessarily want to do off of your second goo in the prep phase, because you're going to be playing this area, you're about to have another goo generate, and now you can use that third one for the Armory door when you could have used a second, the one that you just threw, you know, for Archives door, for Fountain door, whatever it might be, top metal, just so that we can get more information elsewhere. Alright, the notorious 3v5 situation. So just to break this down, 3v5 situation, 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, match point. So this is a moment where you and your team should be seeking a kill or 2 to either make the man count somewhat even in a 3v4 or make it completely even in a 3v3. Because the attackers getting 2 opening picks in the first 45 seconds of the round is something you don't want as a defender, to put it that way. So trying to counter them a little bit with that, and trying to alleviate some of that pressure that the attackers now have and that leverage that they now have over you and your team is something that should be sought after until the point where, you know, you either get that 3v3 or potentially, you know, a 3v2. Now the man count is in your favor, but you don't want to overdo it. You just want to get it to the point where you guys are sitting comfortably than you once were before in the 3v5.
I injured him.
Yeah, you can get.
Okay, that's a huge pick on the Finka there. You still got the Amaro, I believe, with the G8 peeking you. Yeah, you see now here, The attackers planted like 30 seconds after what I just said. Like I was talking at like 2 minutes 14 seconds. They planted at like 2 minutes and 45 seconds, something like that. So, you know, 30 seconds after of what I just said, the attackers planted. So this is, again, why you should kind of be a little bit more responsive and react to what the attackers are doing. Because if you don't, they're just going to do something like that where they plant for free. And, you know, now you might potentially lose the game. Yeah. That was a rough situation. For the most part, I kind of expected that from the attackers. Also, another thing here with this 5-stack environment, communication in these 5 stacks in clutch rounds is so important. Like there's literally no communication in terms of what you guys are doing. Your teammate called out one jumped in sight, something along those lines just a moment ago. And then, you know, you're not even telling him that you're walking in because guess what? He almost TK'd you here. Like, he is actively shooting at, like, right there. And that's his reaction. So, like, there's no communication of, hey, I'm walking into workshop next to you. Hey, I'm going to go blue hallway now. Hey, you stay there. I'm going to flank. Hey, you now push up. Or vice versa. He's telling you these things, right? Like, these little things in terms of communication is something that needs to be capitalized on in these 5 stacks, in these 4 stacks, 3 stacks, whatever it is. Because that little advantage over the enemy can be significant, especially when, let's say, it's just 5 random people that are solo queued into the same team on the enemy team, right? So you need to take advantage of your team being in together in a Discord, in a group call, whatever it might be. Alright, but that's everything I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed or learned something new from today's video, make sure you guys leave a like and also double check and see if you're subscribed. We're getting very close to 50k subs. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, there's a link to my coaching service. So if you guys are interested in a VOD review much like this one here, but that is much more in depth and also is an hour long, check out the coaching down below as well as all of the other tiers that I do have for you guys. And yes, I do coach console players. To the viewer who submitted this VOD and his 5-stack, I hope this video helped you out, and I'm looking forward to a future VOD submission from you. But that's everything I have for you guys today. Check out all the links down below in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.